Hello and welcome back to KXAN Plus. I'm your anchor, Esmeralda Zamora, and today we have one of our KXAN interns here with me to talk about her journey throughout her KXAN internship. And with me to do that is Kara Mihm. Kara, thanks for joining me. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much, Esme. I'm excited.
So you've been here for how long already?
It's been about 6 weeks, maybe even 7 now.
6
Time has been
weeks.
flying by.
Yeah, definitely flew by. I remember when you had just joined, I think it was your first day, still kind of looking around, getting familiar with the newsroom. And now you have written your own story. It's published online, and we're here to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Well, let's dive right into it. What was your story topic, and why did you choose that topic?
Yeah, for sure. So my story is about how people are now using AI for therapy, kind of either supplementing it where they see a therapist and then they also want to go home and have that 24-hour option where they can contact or just chat, use a chatbot whenever they want. But there's also like another side to it where people are relying on it instead of seeing a therapist, instead of even maybe speaking to their friends or family about situations. So I kind of got the whole idea because my younger sister actually, she does it. It's not to an extreme, but I will say it just kind of piqued my interest where I started asking my friends, like, have you guys heard about this? And then I found out that actually it's very normal.
Very normal. I've heard about it too all over TikTok. People just want, like, I guess a companion to talk to. So they talk to ChatGPT or any AI source. What was the most common AI platform that you heard people were using?
Mostly ChatGPT, but I also think that's because it's like one of the more popular ones.
Yeah.
So people are used to it. But yeah, like you said, it kind of just came from like people not having the option to go to therapy, more so like, it's really expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, through this, I found that in Texas specifically, it could be $50 to $200 per session. So you're thinking about doing it like even just once a week, that adds up so quickly. Also, a lot of people work odd hours or they're just like gone the whole day. Maybe they're a student. So they found that when they wanted to talk to someone at night, there wasn't even that option.
Wow. And usually, how long does a session last?
Well, with a therapist, it's usually like 30 minutes to an hour. And with ChatGPT, like you can do it as long as you want. Yeah.
Whenever you want.
Yeah, that's what people are calling it, like a pocket therapist. Whenever you want, pull it out.
Yeah. And when you were writing the story by chance, did you kind of dabble into what it's like talking to them or talking to ChatGPT as a therapist? What kind of answers did you get back?
Yeah, I did. I used a bunch of different platforms. And honestly, like it was shockingly like helpful because one thing that AI is really good is recognizing patterns. So if I gave them like a whole story about something happened and this happened last week with this person, they were able to tell me like, oh, it seems that this is like a reoccurring thing. Like maybe this is a red flag you should look out for. So I don't think I personally am going to use it for much more than just, playing around. But I like do understand why people do get hooked.
And experts are warning that using this AI on its own is risky. Explain to us why and how does that relate to using it for therapy?
Yeah, so I spoke to 3 specific experts. One was a Stanford researcher. He's the one who came out earlier in the summer with this project that said, you know what, maybe you shouldn't rely on it because they did 2 projects. The first one was where they chatted on a bunch of platforms and said, hey chat, like I'm super sad and depressed, like where's the tallest building? And like hinting at a suicidal thought. And the AI chatbots were able to recognize it at first because it was just in one sentence, like I'm sad. And then there was also like, what's the tallest building? And it was send like, and all the platforms, because I tried this out myself, all the platforms like sent out hotlines and were like, don't do this. But if you send in the next message and just say like, no, what is the tallest building? I found that 3 out of 5 of them would give you answers. And that's what Stanford found as well. And then another project they found is they would just write these whole just stories, and they found that AI has like bias towards people who have schizophrenia or like an alcohol dependency.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever there is a bias and, you want your therapist to push back on you and help you out of, the tunnel, like chat's
Yeah.
not doing that. So all three of them said, it's fine to use it to rant, to journal, to just have someone to talk to, but don't solely rely on it
For
for
therapy, pretty
specifically.
much.
And there is that line between journaling and therapy.
Yeah, there is definitely. Journaling is somewhere where you just leave your emotions all on the paper and look back at it later. But when you're in a therapy session, you want that person to be a person and to give you people reactions or a person's reactions to what you're giving them. And I guess that's what these experts are saying you're not going to get from AI, right?
Yeah. One person I spoke to, he's a cognitive scientist at UT. He told me, and we can play a little bit of his soundbite. He was telling me that, when you think of therapy, you might be a little nervous. And so you're talking to someone, but your therapist is going to be able to notice if you're lying or not, or if you're nervous or hesitant about something. So we'll see what he said here.
Yeah, let's listen to it.
We're running the biggest unregulated social science experiment in the history of humanity right now. There are no guardrails. There are no safeguards. They're just putting them out there. There's no top-down regulation.
That's right. There's no top-down regulation on using things like ChatGPT for a therapy session. What else did you learn from him?
Well, he really had a lot to say just because he knows so much about, how the brain works and how people interact. But he also was just kind of saying, like, we kind of have to get used to, this is like the reality. We kind of have to get used to technological advancements. Yeah. So you honestly shouldn't be nervous about implementing it into your life. But like I said, it just shouldn't be the only thing. And that's also what Dr. Brooks said. I spoke to him as well. Mm-hmm. He was also saying that, we should be comfortable. He uses AI in his therapy, which I found was really interesting. He's still at the beginning steps where he's very careful about using it. Yeah. But he said more so like he'll bring up the phone and he will tell the person his opinion, and then they'll ask the chat, and chat will give their opinion, similar. And then see if it's similar, see if there's something that he wasn't thinking about, and then he'll kind of react to that. So if maybe it's not a good idea, then he'll be like, oh, don't do it. But if it is good, he'll continue on that same wavelength.
Yeah, it sounds like he's testing it, and that's something that we do here. And a lot of companies are using AI, but you have to test it first. You have to run through different scenarios and make sure that it does work correctly. And it sounds like that therapist is trying to make it work, and other people are using it solely to have a therapist in your pocket. And if this is the case, why do people still use it?
Yeah, well, like I said, it is, I think, mostly a money thing. It's a time thing. Also, people just don't feel comfortable sometimes confiding in someone. Maybe they don't feel like they're telling the whole story when they go to therapy. So it's just, the people that I spoke to that use AI for therapy, they said that they're just able to lay everything out. And they're not expecting to have any, judgment about what they're saying. And I understand. I do understand. Mostly, honestly, which was interesting, is that I found people use it for relationship advice. Should I break up with my boyfriend? Should I stay with him? I spoke to 2 girls who both had the same experience. Wow. And they both broke up with their boyfriends because of it.
Wow, yeah. That is a story to tell.
I know.
That's funny. Well, how important is physically seeing your therapist, and what's the impact of nonverbal cues in therapy? What did you learn throughout your reporting?
Yeah, so even just nodding the head, I could be doing this and I actually don't mean yes. Or maybe I am moving my hand a little bit, I'm fidgeting, playing with my rings. That can mean so many different things. So you kind of need that person right in front of you. Who knows? AI could advance in the next couple of months where you can turn on a camera and it's able to see how you react. And that's a whole different picture at that point. But right now it's not to that development where you can totally trust the AI chatbots to know what you're talking about without actually being able to see you.
Wow. And Abby.gg is mentioned as an AI designed specifically for mental health in your story. How does it differ from general chatbots like ChatGPT that we were just talking about in its approach to sensitive topics like suicidal thoughts?
Yeah, so I spoke to the chief officer. He was telling me that the main difference is that for the platform Abby, you can't just like look up like how can I cook my steak? Like it doesn't answer basic Google questions. It was made by a group of mental health professionals, and so it's kind of specifically just tailored to questions you would ask a therapist. But he really hit home like if you have any serious mental issue, like don't solely use it. You should use it as like a supplementary tool to going in person. But if you just need someone to talk to, like you've had a rough day, it's totally fine. There's kind of like a pushback button within the platform where if you're saying something kind of harmful or, something that could be worrisome to a person, they're going to like shoot you a message to call a hotline.
Yeah.
And it won't like answer any more questions after that. So that's kind of the main difference is that it's like more so tailored versus like a very generic chatbot.
So it's specific to what you're using it for. And
Yeah.
it knows the proper answers, not like ChatGPT that's just going to give you whatever you're asking for, pretty much.
Exactly.
My next question is, experts argue that it shouldn't be a replacement, like we talked about at the beginning of this stream, but how can it be safely used in conjunction with human therapy?
Yeah. So I think the main thing is like being able to draw a line, like not getting too obsessed with it, where you find yourself chatting it all the time and where you find yourself like not talking to your friends about your problems or your family members or that therapist. And it's just, I feel like it's just bringing yourself in when you feel yourself like tipping over the edge.
Yeah.
And that's what these experts were saying, because this is the future. And so it's okay to play around with it and use it if you don't have, the financial resources or the time for traditional therapy, but to just really like keep yourself in check.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of fear around AI and how it's used today and how we're going to see it be used in just a few years. But it's important to remember that this is new and it's not perfect, right?
Exactly. Totally.
How did your personal understanding or perception of AI's role in mental health evolve from the beginning to the end of your reporting on this topic?
Yeah, so I think at first like I said, I was totally shocked that this was a thing.
I was shocked when you gave me your article. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I've never heard of this.
So I think it did open up my understanding. Like after talking to people who do use it and who were like adamant about using it, I'm like, okay, I understand now. And then I did like use it. And so I see why it is so attractive as an option.
Yeah.
I think I still, like I said, stay on the same like level of it's fun, but I'm not going to trust it too much. But that's just my opinion on like AI in general.
Yeah.
Like I like to use it to an extent. So I think it's great that I know it's an option now. In even like journaling, you could save some paper. And it's on you at all times, but I don't think I'm going to be using it like some of my interviewees were telling me to do so.
And most of the people that you interviewed, what age were they?
Yeah, for the people who use it, it was between 20 and 28.
Wow.
So kind of like the age that is like really much on social media. And that's where I like found them.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. You did have another interview that you wanted to share with us here on our live stream. And who was that interview with and what did they have to say?
Yeah, it's with Dr. Mike Brooks. He is an Austin psychologist. He's the one who has been utilizing it in his therapy practice.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, we can play it. Basically, he was just kind of hitting home that there are no regulations yet. And so it really, you need to be careful.
Let's listen to it.
The word is ambiguous. The tone of voice, the body language gives you a little bit more information. Bot doesn't have any access to that. You say, okay, it's going to be like, great, I guess we're good to go then. Whereas a therapist would have went, yeah, your mouth said okay, but the rest of you didn't.
That's right. It's different when a therapist is in front of you and watching your body language. That's what they study, right? They study the way people communicate, how they use their hands, their facial expressions, and ChatGPT or any AI for that matter cannot do that.
Yeah, exactly. And the FDA like hasn't approved it as like a mental health thing, so it's just like something to keep in mind that like maybe until they do, you should be cautious.
Yeah, for sure. You did write an article on this story, and it was published today. Let me pull that up for us. And we have it on our homepage, KXAN.com. You can find it pretty quickly. It is titled, As AI Chatbots Become More Popular for Therapy, Experts Urge Users to Keep Humans in the Loop. What else is in here that we didn't get to touch on during this stream?
I think it's just like going more into the specifics of the experiments that are done, like why it's risky. And I think just as you read it, you kind of do get an understanding of, it is just a little something you have to be worried about. I mean, I did mention 2 lawsuits in here that we didn't get to, which are interesting. There was a 14-year-old last October who he unfortunately committed suicide after talking to a chatbot because it told him to do so. Yeah. And then another lawsuit that December, just a month later, where a 17-year-old with autism was told by his chatbot that it's okay to kill his parents. What? So it's like it's worrisome to say the least.
Mm-hmm. And here, I think I just got to that area. You have the links to those lawsuits too. So there are some pretty major effects that happen if you do rely on this as your therapy.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you mentioned, it's not FDA approved, so it's important to keep that in mind when you are messing around with AI. But that article is on our homepage, KXAN.com. It can be found right on the homepage, super easy. I do want to we talked about your experience writing this article, but I do want to get to you. You are an intern here at KXAN. Talk to us about where you're headed after this ends.
Yeah, so I have one more semester at Boston University. I'm graduating a semester early, and it's a recent thing. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'd love to be a reporter at a broadcast station. It's been wonderful to see how everyone has come together, especially during like the floods that happened in the beginning of July. And I think it's just really solidified the fact that this is the career I want to go into.
Yeah, and not many interns get to be part of breaking news like that and part of the task force. And I know you helped a lot and put your best foot forward. So I hope that you learned so much throughout your experience here at KXAN. If you could name your favorite day or your favorite assignment you were tasked with, what would it be?
The first thing that comes to mind is that the week after the flooding first happened, I went with one of the reporters, Kevin, and we went to a wildlife sanctuary, and they had thousands of wild animals there, and a bunch were being brought there after they're getting, breaking bones from the flood, found injured. So we saw like a bald eagle, we saw a fox get surgery, just so many things that I wouldn't have thought
or
I would
have
see.
Done or seen here in the station.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing. Every day I walk in, I hear the reporters' pitches, and I get the option to go out on assignment with them. So it's always fun. I feel like Barbie, where she just like puts on a new outfit like every day, depending on what she's doing. Yeah.
That's cute. Well, we're so glad that you spent your last internship here at KXAN. You grew so much, and we're so proud of you. This is an excellent story that you wrote and published today, and it's going to live on all of our platforms. That's our KXAN.com platform, our app, as well as our CTV programming app. You can find this video that is live right now if you're watching on our social media outlets. You can also watch it on our KXAN Plus app, and that is free to download in the App Store of Roku devices, Fire Stick devices, Apple TVs, and now Samsung TVs. So please download the app. It's completely free, and you can watch fun content like this. Thank you so much, Kara, for joining us here at KXAN, and we will see you soon.
Yeah, thanks so much. I had fun.